Alright. During October, focus on Halloween or spooky themes to fit the time. Hey everybody! You ever hear about a game called Costume Quest? Anyone who's part of the PC gaming scene has undoubtedly heard of Tim Schafer and his company Double Fine. For those of you who don't know, I'll cover some quick history for you.
Aw, man, I had enough history in school.
Shut up, Billy, this is important.
My name's Jimmy now.
Why?
Uncle Billy said it'd be funnier if I legally changed my name to Jimmy.
I need to have words with that boy. Anyway, history time. Tim used to be a part of LucasArts before that company decided original ideas didn't make as much money as Star Wars and threw everyone out. The Double Fine was founded in July of 2000, and they released two games known as Psychonauts and Brutal Legend. During development of Brutal Legend, Tim told everyone to take a 2-week break from the game and come up with some other ideas, splitting his team into 4 groups. I believe this was called the Amnesia Fortnight, but it doesn't really need a fancy name in the end. Costume Quest is the first release of that brainstorm, with the team led by Pixar alumni Tasha Harris. And with a resume that includes the name Pixar, you know you're going to get some whimsical and wonderful art in a story that appeals to the whole family. And Costume Quest does not disappoint in that regard. The setup is, on Halloween, your twin sibling is kidnapped by monsters, and you set out to save him by trick-or-treating. But what happens when the monsters find you? You use your costume to turn into a giant version powered by the awesomeness of a child's imagination and fight, with your costume giving different abilities. Every third turn, your special meter fills up and lets you use your abilities, such as heal, shield an ally, or launch a barrage of rockets at the enemy. Most costumes also have special abilities to help explore the areas you visit. The robot able to skate up ramps, and the spaceman lighting up dark places as some examples. The combat in the game is turn-based, and you do bonus damage or take less damage by following on-screen prompts. It's something to help keep an active interest in the battles, but if you sneeze or blink at the wrong time, it can make a difference. Of course, losing a battle literally does nothing. You just appear where you were on the screen beforehand with no penalty at all. This takes out a lot of frustration and makes experimentation of party builds easier, but also holds back the feeling of the battles being actual obstacles. Overall, a fun and easy system, but there's not as much tactical depth to it as most other RPGs. Your enemies are the Repugians. And come in the flavors of Grubbins, Trawbogs, and Crestwhalers.
Can I just call them goblins, trolls, and crows?
Yeah, go right ahead if you want to be wrong. Each one of those can be a melee attacker, ranged attacker, warlock, or healer. And in the world of video games, the Geneva Convention doesn't exist, so make sure to kill the healers first. You only fight Grubbins at first, with Trawbogs appearing in the second area, and Crestwhalers in the third. There's only 3 areas you can explore in the game, making it fairly short even when you're trying to do everything the game has to offer.
There's more than trick-or-treating and fighting monsters?
Of course! You can bob for apples and play hide-and-seek.
Cool! What else?
Well, except for this card-collecting side quest, that's just about it, really. You can find new costumes and upgrade them with battle stamps to boost skills or add new ones, but in the end the game is pretty basic. Actually, a better term would be focused. Costume Quest has one goal and wants to do it first and foremost, without a bunch of extra crap getting in the way like a lot of other AAA modern games. Now when you start the game, you choose which kid to play as. Your choice has no effect to the game, so go with whichever one you want, and if you feel like it, try the other one on another playthrough. For this review, I'm going to go as the girl, Ren. The plot gets going when the monster stealing candy from a house nearby decides your sibling is the biggest piece of candy he's ever seen and absconds with him. In giving chase to them, you wind up getting stopped by an evil witch who's in charge of it all, Then she makes you lose your costume with a spell. A cat shows up to help you get it back, though, and you swiftly meet another kid named Everett. After this whole sequence is done showcasing the game mechanics, you're left to your own devices, and you're off on your quests. You perform quests for people scattered around to unlock more areas to trick-or-treat in. And your final goal in each area is the giant gate leading to the boss. The gate only opens after each available trick-or-treat location is visited. And in the starting area especially, you'll wish the developers put in some sort of map to keep track of things.
You know, I thought you said you were an old school gamer. Shouldn't you be okay with drawing your own maps and stuff?
Good idea! Go get a pen and paper and get busy. Candy is currency in this game, though the only things to spend it on is the battle stamps. Completing the hide-and-seek challenges gives you a larger bag so you can hold more candy at once. Grown-ups that you meet when you trick-or-treat will give you lots of candy, while the monsters you beat will fill up your experience bar as well as drop some candy as well.
Oh hey, I get that joke with the experience bar.
What do you mean?
Experience. You know, knowledge, smarts. It looks like a Smarties candy wrapper.
Holy crap, I didn't notice that before. Good eye, Billy.
Jimmy.
Whatever. Before you get to the first boss, you'll meet a talking scarecrow that gives you part of a costume. But don't worry about looking for the rest of the parts immediately, because the thing stretches out into the final level. However, by now you'll have gotten the Statue of Liberty costume, one of my favorites in the game. And that's not just because it's one of 2 explicit healing costumes, but also it's the only healer I've seen in video games that uses a flamethrower. Did I mention the costume powers run off the awesomeness of imagination of children? Anyway, the first boss is a literal monster manager, and you'll have an easier time fighting him if you destroy his megaphone first. Afterward, you go to the mall where the monsters are ransacking the local candy store. Same bit as normal, wander around, knock on doors, buy more stamps. Oh, that song's from Psychonauts!
Focus, Grandpa.
Oh, right. Now, about halfway through the area, you'll meet your third and final party member, Lucy. This area will also require you to get the Space Warrior costume to progress so you can light up dark areas. But you can also get the Ninja and Unicorn costumes as well.
If you make a My Little Pony joke, I'm leaving.
Oh, lighten up. Besides, the game did it for me with the healing spell. The next boss is a back-to-back fight against the Bulldozer Gremlin. Or something. And you manage to find your sibling. But then the witch manages to turn them against you and, again, takes away your costumes. This time locking you up in a cage. You escape and get a French fry costume from a vendor for helping him out. And then you use that to get your good costumes back. Because how the heck is a French fry costume threatened? Wow, that thing looks pretty awesome. Did I mention...
Yes!
Okay. Anyway, if you found a scarecrow in all 3 areas by now, then you get a pumpkin costume. And you can put together a vampire costume as well. There's also a hidden black cat costume that requires you to fill up your card collection. And to do that, it's entirely possible you'll need to fight respawning enemies, since some cards are randomly dropped in battle. There's also a grubbin costume toward the end, but it's entirely plot-based and you can't fight while wearing it. Now, with this being the last area of the game, of course you finally get to square off against the evil witch, who is actually planning to take over the monster world by bribing her way in with candy and overthrowing the current leader. After you beat her, the real boss appears and banishes her from the monster realm, which she responds to by giving your party a boost for the final fight. And yes, he is a Grim Reaper using a candy cane scythe.
Is that awesome, Grandpa?
No, just interesting.
Wait a minute, did we just violate the rule of 3 in humor?
What? Oh crap, I think you're right. Well, too late now.
Ow!
Sorry. Anyway, the game ends as you expect. All the kids get together and share their candy with some humorous interjection from the father. Now, if you got this game on PS3 or Xbox 360, there was a DLC pack released in December called Grumman's on Ice. The PC version was released a year later via our good friend Steam. and it included Grubbins on Ice as part of the package. It extends the story to winter, with Lucy trying to find scientific evidence of the monster realm before she gets kidnapped, and Everett recruits the twins to help rescue her. It carries over all the costumes, levels, stamps, and cards you got in the main game, while raising your level cap past 10. I finished it at 14, but I am sure you can go higher. The story you discover is that the monster world is having a revolutionary war in the middle of their Yeti Day celebrations.
What the heck is Yeti Day?
Be quiet and I'll get to it. It's a combination of Christmas and Groundhog Day, where they gather in Christmas-like festivities to witness the Yeti coming from his cave, symbolizing good luck or something. I won't spoil what happens with the Yeti, but you can get a Yeti costume built, as well as an eyeball and pirate costumes. Of course, since the monsters you fought before are now asking for your help, the new enemy you fight are Repugians, which look kind of like grubbing skeletons. There's only the one boss fight here, but it is actually pretty hard. I tried a few combinations and concluded the 3 new costumes are meant to be used for this fight, especially with the Yeti's guard everyone skill. The Big Bones is being resurrected by an evil crest whaler, and at certain points, if you don't knock the bird backward into him, the Sweet Reaper will hit everyone for an incredible amount of damage. As far as I can tell, the more times he does this, the more damage he does each time. When you finish, the game ends with a cliffhanger, which really feels out of place even in a game such as this one.
Well, how would you have ended it?
Honestly, I haven't the foggiest. But even with such an odd ending to the game, I highly recommend buying Costume Quest. And that includes the DLC if you're getting it on consoles. It's charming, funny, has wonderful art, and it's one of those games that really helps capture the feeling of what it is being a kid again on Halloween.
So you're saying this game is good for people who like having an excuse to wear costumes?
Why are you looking at me like that? Costume Quest is definitely a game you can share with the family. And although it's kinda short at coming in around 7 to 10 hours, depending on how you play, it still has plenty of experimentation and replay value to it. Parents, if your kids want a video game that's new and unique, this is something for them.
Well, I'm not sure how fresh and new this game is, considering the sequel was released just last week.
What? I'll be darned. Well, folks, I'd love to review that one, but we're running short on time as it is, so I'll have to leave it for another day. In the meantime, we need to get you a costume, Jimmy.
You're not putting cardboard on me and calling me a robot.
There goes Plan A.
So, Grandpa, what's your costume this year gonna be?
I'm going to dress up as the most horrifying, most terrible thing that I've ever known as a gamer. An EA Games executive.